God answered one of your prayers?
He saved Johnny's life like 20 times, and he made it so Jonathan's heart surgery recovery was like 7 times faster than what they thought.
I could tell you guys so many stories of answered prayer, but one that I remember from camp back in 2013, we had a teen camp where only I think 15 or 16 campers were signed up to come. And so all the staff, we got together and we prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And this was like literally the day before camp. And then camp happened and we had over 70 campers. It was awesome.
Hey friends, one way that I've seen God answer prayers lately is by bringing kids from the drop-in center that I work at to the youth group that I volunteer at. And I'm able to see some bits and pieces of growth in their life and how they're learning just about who Jesus is and what Jesus did on the cross for them and what a relationship with Jesus looks like.
Last week we talked a little bit about Assyria, the superpowered nation of the ancient world that was taking over countries left, right, and center. And in the 4th year of Hezekiah's reign, Assyria captured the people of Israel, the next door country, and took them into exile. Remember, God had prophesied that this would happen because the people of Israel were worshiping idols and forsaking God. This meant that Assyria was right next door to Judah, which you can imagine was terrifying. But King Hezekiah was not like his father Ahaz, which we talked about last week. King Hezekiah, he removed the high places, he smashed the idols, and the Bible has this to say about him.
Hezekiah trusted the Lord, the God of Israel. There was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, either before him or after him.
Hezekiah actually rebelled against Assyria because he wanted to trust in God. You can imagine, Assyria did not like this, and so they lay siege against Jerusalem, and they started to taunt the people, and taunt their God. You can read about it for yourself in 2 Kings 18, how Hezekiah, he put his trust in God. Even though this major superpower, the people of Assyria, they're coming against this small nation of Judah, he worshipped and trusted in God. The prophet Isaiah prophesied that God was going to rescue the people, and he did. So that very night that Hezekiah prayed, the angel of the Lord came and killed 185,000 people in the Assyrian army. So the next morning they literally woke up and all they saw were dead bodies. So Sennacherib, the current king of Assyria, he broke camp and he withdrew from Judah. So they had a reprieve. Hezekiah was a great king, but unfortunately later on in his life, the wealth and the power got to his head and he started showing off his wealth to all the people around him, including the visiting people from Babylon. And Isaiah prophesied that the Babylonians would become the new superpower, and it would be them that would defeat and capture the people of Judah and bring them into exile because they were worshiping idols still. This prophecy would be fulfilled in 587 BC when Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonian army would defeat Judah and bring them into exile. Today I want to talk about the power of prayer. Not the act itself, because closing your eyes and folding your hands and saying certain phrases, amen at the end, whatever, that itself is not magical. But when we turn to the all-powerful God of the universe who made us and who loves us, we can have assurance that he hears us. I love the way that Hezekiah prayed in this crazy, scary situation.
The Lord, the God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim. You alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Give ear, Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, Lord, and see. Listen to the words Sennacherib has sent to ridicule the living God. It is true, Lord, that the Assyrian kings have laid waste these nations and their lands. They have thrown their gods into the fire and destroyed them. For they were not gods, but only wood and stone, fashioned by human hands. Now, Lord our God, deliver us from the hand, so that all of the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone, Lord, are God.
He didn't just focus on himself. He didn't freak out or just say, God, help me. I need help. Help, help, help. Instead, he turned and he focused on who God was. So many of my prayers are very me-focused. God, help me in this situation. Help that person to be so annoying because it annoys me. God, please help me. But Hezekiah didn't pray like that. Instead, he focused on God. He said, God, you are king over all nations. Then he was real about the situation, saying, the Assyrians, they're here and they're very powerful. But then he focused on God again and said, God, I pray that you would make yourself glorified in this situation, that everyone would know that you are God and not the Assyrians. He really did pray with God and his glory in mind. So when you pray, I encourage you to fix your eyes on Jesus. Remember that he is a good king who loves you, who wants your allegiance, and who died for you. Whatever you're going through, invite God to do what he needs to do to get you to where you need to be. If you have a prayer request today, please reach out to us at the camp. We would love to pray for you. Happy Wednesday, you guys. See ya.